Perfect.
Just let me know if you can see that. Okay.
I will.
Yes.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay.
It's the website, the Brampton's website.
Yeah, so my presentation is a little atypical because I don't have slides, but I'll screen share the actual web pages that I'll be talking about to give the folks here a sense of it all. So hopefully it's not too confusing to follow along. I've tried to make sure it's not, but yeah, I'll be talking about the official plans of Peel Region municipalities, which includes the regional municipality of Peel, City of Mississauga, City of Brampton, and I haven't represented Caledon in this talk, although they do have an official plan as well, only because my experience doesn't cover it, and I haven't been involved in Caledon previously. So for the webpage that I'm on right now, this is City of Brampton's official landing page, or as they refer to it, their landing page for Brampton Plan, which is what they call their official plan. So as you can see here, they've already concluded their engagements, which you can see the recaps of here. But as you can read here, the plan started in late 2019, and it draws from, or rather incorporates, Brampton 2040 vision, which the development began in fall 2017 and was endorsed by 2018. So all that to say that even though the consultations for the official plan only began in 2019, there were direct opportunities for engagement for Brampton 2040 vision, as well as throughout the council term, which also directly feed into the way that the official plan gets shaped. So in that way, both the residents and the council can hold an understanding of how all these distinct policies just merge together in the future to lead their community to their ideal. So it's a very holistic and goal-driven way of organizing, I'd say. And then, oh, sorry, let me just move this out of the way. And then moving on to City of Mississauga, I wanted to plug this in here in case any of you are City of Mississauga residents, because there is an upcoming opportunity for City of Mississauga residents to provide feedback on their draft policies of the city's official plan that they are currently in the process of reviewing. So you can typically subscribe to receive specific updates on city projects if you'd like to follow along the process, because having to search for information at random all the time for yourself just makes it harder, and it makes it easier for you to then be able to direct your energy elsewhere. And then the Region of Peel. So this is the Region of Peel's official website for their official plan. And this is probably the more important one out of the three that I'll talk about, mostly because the Region of Peel is an upper tier municipality, and both City of Mississauga and City of Brampton are the single tier municipalities within the region, meaning that the two cities' plans will have to be consistent with the growth plan as decided by the region, because the direction that the region takes precedence over any individual municipality within that region. And so just to backtrack a little bit, I'll explain a bit of the reason why all of these municipalities' official plans are colliding. So that's because in 2020, the province mandated, which is the current provincial government, that municipalities undertake an official plan comprehensive review, among other criteria, and the deadline for which was set in July 2022. So regardless of the election decision, municipalities have been doing this work and will continue to finish off this work. And so as residents, this year for us becomes really important as sort of the final year of having a say in this round of reviews, and to indicate to your municipalities and the province at large how you want your communities to develop until 2051. So going back to Peel Region, one of the red flags that I'll raise about the plan, if I may, which may be important for many of you to have an idea of as you embark on your own journeys of engaging with your municipality's plan, is that it's a good idea to know what a regional plan looks like, since single tier plans have to remain consistent with upper tier municipal plans. And so you'll see here is the settlement area boundary expansion. And this is at the border of Caledon and Brampton, which are two municipalities in the region. So according to this, the plan proposes an expansion of the existing settlement area, which is an area that's open and permissible for development for serving the community's needs. And so if this area were to be open, it would most likely fill up this land with more single density homes and doesn't do anything to create livable, walkable, or sustainable communities or lower affordable housing, especially if prices and interest rates remain at their current standard. So yeah, that's a very technical explanation, but a great reason to worry about this plan, which is, again, like I said, probably one of the more important ones I discussed out of the three today. And then, so yeah, I've been an advocate at my city since 2019 and regularly involved in regional affairs as well. And the web page I'm sharing now is the Your Voice at the Table guide, which is a online guide that was developed by the David Suzuki Foundation. And the purpose of this is to help folks who are mobilizing with their local governments to be able to work with their governments effectively and leverage their expertise as a resident. So they want to help residents understand that they don't need to be a climate scientist or a policy expert to be able to work with their government. I've used this in the past, so I'll go through the guide myself by going through these web pages and show you how I've managed to read this resource and what each section speaks to. And I can speak a little bit in that sense about how you can use it as well. So yeah, again, to say this is focused on municipalities, so there's a lot of information that you can get in this guide. And one of the first things that it shows is the understanding the emissions where they're coming from. So especially if you're a climate activist taking part in consultations for official plan, you'll want to recognize where the sources of emissions are coming from. And so this lays it out for you by municipalities. And so most of the municipalities' emissions come from transportation and buildings. So if your municipality's official plan recommends 10 new road expansions and they don't have active or public transit infrastructure, then you can probably connect two and two and understand that that plan probably does not align well with climate emission reductions. And so if you recognize the source of emissions, many of which are listed here, but you can also find it out on your own, you would probably want to understand solutions to that problem as well. And so this section of the guide, which is the second section, helps you understand the things that you can advocate for. So it gives you a list of solutions. So even if you recognize the source of emission, understanding the problem is really what helps you become the advocate. So again, you don't have to be a policy expert. You already are an expert at living in your community. And you probably face these problems or realize solutions on your own or better ways of doing things that make life easier and sustainable. So when you factor in your own experiences into the conversation of solutions of why you would want this solution, you can justify that to your council. It probably makes for a more reasonable argument than for a third-party policy analyst that doesn't even live there to come in and explain it to your council. So all that to say, you have to utilize your power as a resident, and this is only a starting point. And there's tons of solutions out there, and many of those will be specific to your community. And so now for a little bit of context, sorry, I'll just go on to the next page. This guide was created for the purpose of climate action plans, but the language has been purposely not directed at climate action plans in specific, only because climate plans across municipalities look very different, and official plans in a way are climate action plans because they have direct influence on climate action or in the way that the community develops and the emissions that it sustains in the future. So when reading this section, if a lot of the language speaks to climate plans, you can extrapolate that to official plans as well, because official plans are still to be based in science and would have clear targets. So if you realize that your municipal official plan is overestimating the population growth and then implements all of these different measures to circumvent the pressures of this growth, then it's probably not doing any good. So official plans like climate action plans are still required to be rooted in science and have clear targets, one of which is the ways that you can assess whether it makes it for an effective plan. And along with doing sort of that own assessment, there are tools out there that are also listed here in this guide that you can use to assess whether the official plan is internally consistent with the rest of the municipal documents or not. So one of the key pillars that I'll focus on that is often forgotten is the inclusion of equity in these municipal plans. Since climate plans, including official plans, provide direction on how the municipality shifts under this, if the people that are currently vulnerable under the circumstances of the municipality are not taken into account, then they can be at risk of further being neglected as a result of the changes. So it's really important to focus on municipality, and you can read in the guide some of the examples of where what a good equitable plan in other regions in Canada looks like. And And then finally, this plan shares tips and tricks for working with your government. I can read some of these, but probably the most important thing would be, as you're trying to work with them, to try and implement some of these, because it's just a good thing to keep in the back of your head, because sometimes when you're doing the work, you forget about the process, and this is just a good reminder. So if you're taking your action with municipalities on official plans further, you would want to target it at the correct municipality. And that, going back to the example of Peel Region I showed you, was if you're targeting City of Brampton to tell them not to increase the settlement area boundary expansion, then that's probably not going to yield any results, because of the fact that it's not in their power and it's actually in the Region of Peel's power. So secondly, you have to know your ask, and you have to be able to leverage the existing priorities and commitments that the council has already set, and try to get them to agree to those that they've already agreed to in the past, and build it together with the ask that you're asking now. And then finally, and this goes on to my next point that Steph was also talking about, a future ground network, having a team to work with makes it much easier and much more impactful. And when you rally a broader group, it really catches your council's attention. And so this is the webpage for Future Ground Network. I'll share all these links in the chat too, in case you'd like to take a look. So Future Ground Network is a network that was developed by the David Suzuki Foundation, but it takes a very leading from behind approach. So it started about a year ago, and it now connects about 150 groups across the country and provides them with access to tools and resources and a community, so that all of these individual groups can really strengthen their respective impact. So relationships, when they emerge out of networks like these, are really strong and powerful, especially for organizers like this who hosted this event. So if you're feeling unsure, if you're feeling alone, or if you feel like you need more guidance and a community behind you to support your work, then this is a really great network to take part in, and you can tap into the resources that the network offers as a member, which includes trainings and also support from a super team of volunteers. So if you're not particularly skilled at digital or social needs, then they do provide you that. And there's an open house coming on March 31st to April 6th if you'd like to get more information. But yeah, all of this to say that there are many, many resources out there, and I'll share the link to them in the chat right now. And if you are a Peel or City of Mississauga resident, then just a reminder that you do have the opportunity to provide your feedback, even if you're not an expert on those plans, because everyone's say matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much for